Hey, welcome back, my amazing student. So our application is almost complete here. One thing that we are missing is some type of feedback from the application, right? When we create a new contact, when we delete it, we don't have any feedback, right? We don't have any flash messages, and this is what we want. So go ahead and go to your project files. In those assets there in the description of this video, of course, there is a link there. And if you don't have it, go ahead and download it. Those files will have a base2.html. I want you to actually come back and replace everything in here with that code. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing right now. So I'm gonna replace the whole thing here, the whole form, with that new code that I got on my clipboard right here. All right, so that code should be available to you in the resources that you have on the description of this video. All right. And there's not much here going on. The changes that I made, most of it have to do with messages. And you can see that I installed messages. So for those of you that don't know how this actually works, with Jinja, what you can do is you can say with messages, right? And you save this temporary messages list here, right? That you get from here, get_flashed_messages. And when we say with categories, what we mean is another how would you call this? Another option that we can actually test for. Now I'll show you. So anyway, once we loop through it, we output the message, right? Whatever message that is. I'll show you how this is actually done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into routes and I'm gonna do one for updating, right? So that way you can see how this actually works. So let's go into update, and right before we redirect right here, I'm going to create a flash message. Let me make sure that actually we are importing this. So from Flask, actually I have it right here. All right. So let's go down, and it should work right here. And let's go ahead and use something like contact, update it. And then here is where we put that category, that option that I told you about, all right? We're gonna say as it says here, just like that, all right? So now when, let's say, for example, I come here and I edit this and I make it number 2, I know that's boring, but we say save, you can see that it says contact update. Let's make sure that it says the right thing, contact updated, right? And we can do the same thing for create. So whatever we want, basically, all right? So create right here, right before we create something, before we redirect, we say contact, create it. Let's come back in here. Let's create a new contact. And well, we don't have the input for the form here. For some reason, I forgot to put it in there. All right, so I'm gonna take it from here and I'm gonna put it in new right here. So that way we can make that request, right? So let's go ahead and do that now. Actually, let's refresh. And there we go, contact created, right? So let's go ahead and put one for delete as well. So let's go into routes. Let me just come back here. Let me see something here. And let's go ahead, and you can pause the video and do that yourself as well, guys. All right, right before we come back here and redirect, we can say contact deleted. Contact deleted right there. Okay. All right, let's check that out. Let's refresh here. And you can see this says contact deleted. All right, let's do one more, something that gives us a different color. Let me see if I can go up and find out what to actually do here, where to put it actually. I'm gonna copy this guy. And right here, let's just put one here real quick. So if this is empty, then we'll just put an error here. So we can say something like, the same thing we said here, we can do it on top. All right. And here we could just do return the template or redirect back to the template. So let's go ahead and return this redirect URL for, and let's grab the blueprint and let's redirect to new contact again, right? So that way we have a different one there. So create new contact. All right. Let's come back here. So if we leave things empty and we, actually this needs to be not there. So for that to work, so let's go into new and this require, I'm gonna take this off for the time being so that way this can go through. All right, refresh. And you can see now that we have that message there. Really cool stuff. If you want to center it, it's up to you. You can go into the base here and you can put something here to make sure that this is actually centered, text center. Let's just see if that works there. Let's come back here and let's edit this one. And you can see now that is actually center. Okay, let's go back and put those things back in here, those require attributes. Let's see what else we can put some of these things on here into routes, actually, sorry about that. So let's go ahead and copy this guy, and there is so many different things that we can put this on here on. So we can put it in this guy right here, and we can say something like error. And we can say we can just replace some of this stuff here, just like we did with the other one, just like that. And this one can be just a redirect, just like we did before, right? We could have just copied that, right? Get into the habit of writing stuff down so that way it stays in your brain a little longer, okay? And here, when we are updating, we need to pass back the, contact. The contact ID in this case is gonna be the contact ID that we got there, all right? Make sure you pass that down. Yeah, let me get this and let's do it one right here, just in case the email is not unique. We can pass in that message. So we can say something like, the email, it's already registered. All right. Simple as that. All right, what else do we have here? So you can go ahead and look at this stuff here, guys, and see what other places you can put these flash messages where, you know, just put it where it makes sense, okay? But yeah, you should have those messages available there. Make sure your application doesn't break. Okay, so now when we try to actually come back here and try to get, let's say, Rosita and have this Rosario here, and we put the same email in this case, and maybe a different number, whatever, and we do this, it says email must be unique. So we're not actually taking care of that with a flash, right? Not yet. Let's go back into the, that's for the create. We didn't put it for the create. We put it for updating. So yeah, I always confuse that. You know, since I have been creating so many courses with the main app having all the routes that I'm not used to it. On this lecture here, I'm switching a lot here. But anyway, yeah, let's also put that in the, we have it in update, right? Let's also put that in the create for the email right here. Okay. And here, the email, the ID needs to be CID. just like that. C.id. All right, so now let's go back and do this. Oh, oops. Let's go back and see what the exception. We have the contact here. Oh, what am I doing? We don't need the ID for creation. Unless, you know, yeah, we don't need the ID for creation. What was I doing there? Let's go back and let's just refresh. Let me use this again. There we go. And let's just call this Rosario. Put the email again, some weird numbers, and main edit. What is that? Oh, what am I doing here? New contact. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I'm falling asleep here. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you on the next lecture.